French-Indian War was fought between the colonies of British America and New France, with both sides supported by military units from their parent countries, as well as Native American allies. At the start of the war, the French North American colonies had a population of roughly 60,000 European settlers, compared to 2 million in the British North American colonies. The name French and Indian War is used mainly in the United States and refers to the two main enemies of the British colonists, the Royal French forces and the various indigenous forces allied with them. The war was fought primarily along the frontiers between New France and the British colonies, from Virginia in the south to Nova Scotia in the north. It began with a dispute over the control of the confluence of the Allegheny and the Monongahela rivers, called the Forks of Ohio, and the site of the French fort Duquesne, and present-day Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The dispute erupted into violence in the Battle of Jumonville Glen in May 1754. The Battle of Bunker Hill was fought on June 17, 1775, during the Siege of Boston in the early stages of the American Revolution. The battle was named after the adjacent Bunker Hill, which was involved in the battle, and was the original objective for both the colonial and British troops. June 1775. The leaders of the colonial forces besieging Boston, when the British were planning to send troops from the city to fortify the unoccupied hills surrounding the city, giving them control of the Boston harbor. When British were alerted to the presence of colonial forces in Peninsula, they mounted an attack against them. After two of the assaults on the colonial positions were repulsed by significant British casualties, the third and final attack ended after the defenders ran out of ammunition. The losses suffered by the British troops gave encouragement to the colonies, demonstrating that inexperienced militiamen were able to stand up to regular army troops in a pitched battle. The Currency Act is the name of several acts of the Parliament of Great Britain that regulated paper money issued by the colonies of British America. The acts sought to protect British merchants and creditors from being paid in depreciated and colonial currency. These colonies had issued paper, fiat money, known as bills of credit, to help pay for military expenses during the French and Indian Wars. Because more paper money was issued that would take out of tax circulation, the currency depreciated in relation to the British pound sterling. The Act of 1764 extended on the Act of 1751 to all the British colonies of North America. Unlike the earlier act, this statute did not prohibit the colonies from issuing paper money, but it did forbid them from designating future currency emissions as legal tender for public or private debts. After 9 years, the colonial agents had secured the paper currency for most provinces, but the Americans had tacitly, if not implicitly, acknowledged the authority of the Parliament, and in final analysis, this is all the imperial government wanted. The Currency Acts created tension between the colonies and the mother country and was a contributing factor in the coming American Revolution in all the colonies except Delaware. The acts were considered to be a major grievance. The Intolerable Acts was the American Patriots' name for a series of punitive laws passed by the British Parliament in 1774. After the Boston Tea Party, they were meant to punish Massachusetts colonists for the defiance in throwing a large tea shipment into the Boston harbor. In Great Britain, these laws were referred to as the Corrective Acts. The acts took away Massachusetts' self-government and historic rights, triggering outrage and the resistance in the 13 colonies. There were three key developments in the outbreak of the American Revolution in 1775. 4 of the acts were in direct response to the Boston Tea Party of December 1773. The British Parliament hoped these punitive measures would, by making an example of Massachusetts, reverse the trend of colonial resistance to parliamentary example of Massachusetts. The authority had begun with the 1765 Stamp Act. Many colonists saw the Concordative Acts and Intolerable Acts as a violation of their constitutional rights, their natural rights, and their colonial charters. They therefore viewed the acts as a threat to all their liberties in all of British America, not just Massachusetts. So, was the American Revolution inevitable? I don't think it was, because if the British actually thought about the colonists for once, they probably wouldn't have revolted and changed the course of history.